Sometimes the weight of our choices drags us to unimaginable depths. This is the story of a woman who seemed to have it all: intelligence, success, and a bright future. Yet behind closed doors, the pressures of her personal life began to erode her resolve. A once brilliant mind found itself trapped in a web of emotional turmoil, with every decision tightening the threads. What began as a desire to protect her world spiraled into an act of irreversible tragedy, leaving behind questions and heartbreak. Suchana S, a 39-year-old CEO of a thriving AI startup, was an intelligent and driven individual who had earned admiration in her professional life. Known for her innovation and sharp intellect, she exuded confidence in her field, becoming a trailblazer in technology. However, behind the polished exterior, Suchana was a woman like any other, grappling with the pressures of life. Despite her intelligence and success, she struggled to keep things together, her personal pain overshadowing her professional achievements. Beneath the composed facade lay a fragile individual trying to navigate an overwhelming storm. Her personal life was falling apart. Suchana S was married to Wenat Raman, a professional. The couple wed in 2010 in Kolkata and had a son in 2019. Her marriage of over a decade had ended in a bitter divorce, leaving her emotionally shattered. The once confident, driven woman now felt isolated and overwhelmed. Suchana S's divorce proceedings with her estranged husband Venkat were highly contentious and involved a custody battle over their 4-year-old son. The divorce, filed in 2020, was marked by allegations of domestic violence from Suchana against Venkat, which he denied. A restraining order was issued against Venkat in 2022, restricting him from entering Suchana's house or contacting their child except during court-allowed weekly visitation sessions. During the custody battle, both parents accused each other of neglect and wrongdoing. Venkat alleged that Suchana deliberately prevented him from seeing his son, despite court orders granting visitation. The focus of her anguish became her 4-year-old son, the innocent center of a fierce custody battle. Each court appearance chipped away at her composure as she grappled with the fear of losing him. When the legal ruling granted her estranged husband visitation rights, it felt like the final blow to her already fragile stability. For Suchana, the idea of sharing custody was unbearable. In her mind, it wasn't just a matter of losing time with her son. It was a loss of control, a threat to her identity as a mother. Her work, once her refuge, now felt hollow, and her days became an exhausting battle against the turmoil in her heart. Desperation clouded her judgment, and the emotional weight she carried grew heavier with each passing day. As her life spiraled out of control, the woman once known for her brilliance and composure stood on the precipice of a devastating decision, one that would change the course of her life forever. Seeking a reprieve from the relentless turmoil that had consumed her life, Suchana planned a spontaneous trip to Goa with her 4-year-old son. On January 6, 2024, Suchana S flew from Bangalore to Goa and checked into a serviced apartment near Candolim Beach, a popular tourist spot known for its vibrant nightlife and tranquil ambience. The accommodation, Sol Banyan Grande, offered her a secluded retreat amidst the bustling area. Goa, with its golden beaches and vibrant culture, has long been a haven for those seeking peace. But for Suchana, the idyllic surroundings did little to soothe the storm within. As the waves crashed rhythmically against the shores of Kandalim, she felt the tides of despair rising within her. She replayed the custody hearings in her mind, haunted by the judge's decision to grant her estranged husband visitation rights. In her anguish, she saw it not as a compromise, but as a threat to her bond with her son, a wedge driving them apart. Alone in the quiet of the room, Suchana was caught in a whirlwind of emotions: love, fear, anger, and hopelessness. The protective instincts that once fueled her drive as a mother now pushed her toward a horrifying conclusion. Her mind, warped by grief and anxiety, told her there was one way to ensure no one could take her son away from her. What followed is an intricate crime entwined with a web of deceit and concealment, unraveling piece by piece. On the fateful night of January 6, 2024, at around 8:00 in the evening, Suchana S made an urgent request to hire a cab for a trip to Bengaluru. Hotel staff suggested her to take a light, but she insisted on hiring a cab. The call reached Rajon D'Souza, a seasoned cab driver familiar with night journeys. Given the late hour and the distance involved, D'Souza stated that he would need to be accompanied by a friend for safety. He quoted a fare of 30,000 Indian rupees for the trip. Without hesitation, Suchana accepted the terms. Shortly before midnight, D'Souza and his companion arrived at Solbanyan Grand, the service department in North Goa where Suchana had been staying. The night was eerily still, interrupted only by the faint sound of waves crashing in the distance. Suchana emerged, quiet and composed, with minimal belongings except for a single conspicuously heavy bag. There was no one else with her. Her young son was missing. After loading the luggage into the cab, the journey began under the cover of darkness. The headlights pierced through the misty roads as they left the coastal town behind, setting the stage for what would become a harrowing chain of events. The drivers noted Suchana's unusual silence throughout the initial leg of the trip, a demeanor that would later haunt them when the truth came to light. The journey from Goa to Bengaluru typically takes around 10 hours by road. After Suchana S vacated her service department at Solbanyan Grande, the housekeeping staff entered to clean the room early morning. It was during this routine task that they discovered bloodstains on the bedsheets, a detail that immediately raised suspicion. What had seemed like a typical checkout now turned into a harrowing investigation. The staff's discovery set in motion a series of events that would soon reveal the devastating truth behind the child's disappearance and the dark reality that had unfolded within those walls. Concerned, they alerted the authorities, who quickly arrived to investigate. Authorities, acting swiftly on the tip-off from the hotel staff, began tracking Suchana's every move. It didn't take long before they closed in on her, intercepting her in a tense moment just as she thought she had escaped. At around 8 a.m. on January 8, 2024, the police arrived at the service department in response to the alarming discovery of bloodstains by the hotel staff. Investigators immediately began scrutinizing the scene, carefully examining the stains and other evidence left behind. It was during this investigation that the question of Suchana Seth's missing son came to light. Where was the 4-year-old boy? What had happened to him during their stay? And, most chillingly, whose blood was on the sheets? These questions weighed heavily on the investigation, setting off a desperate search to uncover the truth behind the eerie silence surrounding the mother and her son. The police initiated their investigation by contacting the travel agency that Suchana Seth had used to book her cab. They traced the driver, Rajon D'Souza, and questioned him about the details of the journey. Specifically, they asked whether Suchana was alone and if a child was with her during the trip. D'Souza confirmed that Suchana was travelling alone and that no child had accompanied her. The police then instructed the driver to hand his phone to Suchana. Over the call, they directly asked her about her son's whereabouts. Suchana, maintaining her composure, claimed that her son was staying with a relative in Goa. She explained that she had to leave for Bengaluru to handle some urgent work. To support her statement, she provided an address for the supposed relative. However, when the police checked the address, they discovered it was fake, further deepening their suspicions and raising alarming questions about the missing child. The Goa police contacted the driver again and instructed him to drive to the nearest police station without alerting Suchana. Unaware of the unfolding developments, Suchana sat calmly in the back seat, seemingly believing everything was proceeding as planned. As the cab approached Chitradurga in Karnataka, the driver noticed the Imangala police station nearby. Acting swiftly, he turned the vehicle toward the station and informed the local police of his conversation with the Goa police. This discreet action set the stage for a dramatic revelation and turned the case in a critical direction. Upon searching the taxi, the police discovered the heavy bag that had been with Suchana during the trip. When the bag was opened, a chilling and heartbreaking discovery was made. The body of a 4-year-old boy, presumed to be Suchana's missing son. The grim find confirmed the worst fears of the authorities, marking a tragic turn in the investigation and sparking further questions about the events that had led to this horrific moment. The details of what transpired between Goa and Bengaluru began to unravel, revealing a crime far darker than initially anticipated. Suchana was taken into custody as the Goa police arrived at the Imangala police station. They were filled with questions, particularly about why she had committed such a heinous act. Her calm demeanor earlier had now been shattered by the gruesome discovery. The police were desperate to understand what led to the death of her 4-year-old son and why she had concealed the child's body in such a manner. The boy's body was immediately preserved at the hospital for forensic examination as the police sought answers to the disturbing questions surrounding the case. How did Suchana manage to carry out the act, and what had driven her to such an extreme decision? These were the critical lines of inquiry that the Goa police focused on in the hours following her arrest. The investigation was just beginning to unravel the shocking truths about her involvement. The forensic team conducted an autopsy on the boy's body, revealing a chilling truth. It became clear that the cause of death was asphyxiation, likely brought on by common household items, such as a pillow. The boy had been smothered, a brutal act that indicated an intense personal level of violence. The discovery of such a method for ending the young child's life raised even more questions about Suchana's motives and the circumstances that led to this tragic event. The forensic details underscored the horror of the crime, adding a deeper layer of mystery to the case. Reports indicate that after killing her son, Suchana attempted to take her own life, but her attempt failed. In the aftermath of this failed suicide attempt, she made a chilling decision. Instead of seeking help or reporting the incident, she planned to travel back to Bengaluru. She intended to discard her son's body at a deserted spot along the way, perhaps as a way to cover her tracks and avoid detection. This calculated move suggests a disturbing level of premeditation, as she tried to avoid the consequences of her actions by planning to dispose of the evidence during her journey. As the investigation into the tragic death of Suchana Seth's son deepened, the police made another crucial discovery in the Goa apartment where the incident took place. They found 2 empty bottles of cough syrup, which raised serious suspicions. The presence of these bottles suggested that Suchana might have intentionally administered a significant dose of the medicine to her son before the fatal act. This discovery pointed to the possibility that the tragedy was a planned act, not an impulsive one. To further understand her state of mind and the motives behind her horrifying actions, the authorities conducted a psychological assessment on Suchana Seth. The goal was to uncover whether she was suffering from any mental health issues that could have influenced her decision-making, or if the crime was driven by another, more calculated reason. The assessment aimed to provide clearer insights into the mind of a mother who could commit such an unthinkable act. During interrogation, Suchana denied murdering her son, claiming she doesn't know who killed him. 3 days after her arrest, investigators discovered a cryptic note written by Suchana on tissue paper with eyeliner, suggesting she didn't want her son's custody to go to her ex-husband, Wenat Raman. The note was sent for forensic examination, with handwriting samples from Suchana being compared. Police gathered crucial evidence, including a pillow, suitcase, blood-stained towel, and cutlery from a Goa apartment, and recorded statements from 15 people. The case is still being heard in court, with the legal proceedings ongoing. Suchana continues to deny the charges of murdering her son, maintaining that she has no knowledge of who is responsible for his death. Reports say that Suchana's actions, fueled by a desperation born of fear and hopelessness, shattered the fragile boundaries of reason. Her overwhelming fear of losing her son consumed her, turning a mother's love into a destructive force. This tragedy serves as a grim reminder that no conflict, no matter how harrowing, can ever justify the destruction of innocence. Her story is one of profound heartbreak, broken dreams, and irreparable loss, a chilling testament to the darkness unresolved pain can unleash when left unchecked. It stands as a haunting cautionary tale of the human psyche under siege. In the end, no victory emerges from tragedy. While justice will inevitably take its course, the scars left behind will linger for a lifetime. This story is a stark reminder of the fragile line between despair and destruction, urging us to recognize the importance of seeking help before it's too late. It is a tragic call to address our emotional struggles before they spiral into irreversible consequences. If you want to explore more intriguing narratives, mysteries and tales of human resilience, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Hit the bell icon to stay updated every time we post new content. Your support keeps us motivated to bring you the stories that matter. Love the content we create? Help us keep this channel alive and thriving by making a donation.